Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Theros Best of 3 traditional draft. We'll go ahead and fire this one right up here. We have a quest, a 750 for white and blue spells, so maybe we'll end up in a white-blue Dream Trawler deck, you know? That would be the dream. But let's just go ahead and jump right into pack one, pick one. Alright, well, a lot of really powerful cards in this pack to talk about. Let's start with the commons here. So, Warbriar's Blessing is maybe one of the best, if not the best, green common. It's a removal spell, and as long as you have some fatties on board, it can kill, reasonable-sized creatures. There's a couple of times where this is awkward if you don't have a creature to attach this to, or it's too small to fight your opponent's big threat. It can be a little awkward, but overall I've been impressed with this card. It's a pretty good removal spell, and if you were in green you would snap that up here. We also have Omen of the Forge. First copy of this is very playable in red decks. Get rid of a 2 toughness blocker. You can even, there's some games where this is just a little bit of reach. Late game, you have the opponent down to 1 or 2, board clogs up, you top deck an Omen of the Forge, and just dome them for the win. That's very viable, happens. Omen of the Sea, good blue card here. Probably the best blue common, and this is just a lot of card selection, as well as drawing a card, cantrips, scries you some later. It's great. Lets you play it at instant speed in the red-blue flashy deck. So we have 3 good 2-mana enchantments at common. We'd love it if basically any of those wheeled. Slaughter Priest of Mogis. This is a gold card. I'm not super high on taking a gold card for pack one, pick one, unless it's, an utter bomb. This is fine if you're in the red-black sack deck. Gary, Grey Merchant, great reason to be heavy black. Dropping one of these can be a huge life point swing. Even just, a drain for 3 with a 2/4 body that's fairly respectable. It can give you some reach there at the end. Alrios, good blue card. This is sort of, 2 creatures for 3 mana. One's a 2/3 and the other one's a 3/2. All of that's good. And then we have the rare Nessian Boar. So Nessian Boar, very powerful card. Sometimes this is just going to be enough all on its own, and it's especially potent if you can back it up with some combat tricks, if you can find a way to boost its toughness. There'll be some games where this just keeps pushing through damage over and over and over. The opponent, they just end up blocking. They can draw a bunch of cards, but if they don't draw an answer, this just repeatedly wraths them, and any of your other creatures come in. They start getting in, chipping in for damage. This is also able to just sit back and block if there's no good attacks on board, or if you're afraid your opponent may have removal for this. One of the worst feelings with this card is attacking. They declare, 3 or 4 blocks, draw 3 or 4 cards, and then destroy this thing. You get utterly blown out there. But if you're afraid they have that, well, just sit back. You have a 10/6 that you paid 5 mana for that's sitting there on defense that offers to trade for basically anything, or just eat other things. So it's good when you have to just sit back on. Hi, Motor City Mama. Welcome to the stream. This is good all around, and for this pack, I think we'll just go ahead and grab up the boar. Alright, pack 2. Oh goodness, there's a bunch of good stuff in this one too. We have... what all do we have in this one? So, rare's gone, but uncommon-wise, there's an Agonizing Remorse. This is good if you want to pick your opponent's hand apart. You can, take out a bomb before it ever hits the table. And you can also just exile something from the graveyard if that is, if they have a good escape card there, you can just nab that. So it's fine in that case. You really want to. It's better when you can rip their hand apart, but sometimes nagging an escape creature is worth it. Furious Rise is an interesting one here. This is if you have a creature with 4 power or greater at the beginning of your end step, you exile top card of your library, and then you can play that card until you exile another one with Furious Rise. That's worth considering here. We took a green card. This is for the red-green archetype, and our one creature currently does have power 4 or greater. It's much greater than 4. Other things in this pack, Chainweb Arachneer, this is good. I like it a little bit more out of the board in this format, especially if your opponent has a couple of flyers. But this is fine if you don't have much other escape. The 1/2 for 1 is really not impressive. You need to be escaping it at least once to get that 4/5 out. But once it's a 4/5, it's doing some work. Other things of note, Chimera, if you're heavyweight, is a good card, but it doesn't look like we're leaning that way quite yet. And green-white's not an archetype I really want to force for something like a Chimera. Down other commons here, we have a Voracious Typhon, and this pairs really well with the board just because it's another fatty. If the board's attacking in, you can have your Typhon be attacking in with it, and the Typhon gets in unblocked. And this is a good escape creature. Keeps us, it looks like we'll want to be heavy green at that point, and we'll see if we can't just cut green and get hooked up there. I think it could be right to take the Furious Rise. It is worth it as a build around, but here I think I'm just going to take the Typhon, stay on color. In this format, it can be very rewarding to stick to a single color all throughout pack 1, and that way in pack 2, if you open a bomb of a second color, you have your 2 colors at that point, whereas if you get 2 colors in pack 1 and you open a bomb pack 2, you have to really think about whether you want to ditch one of your colors to pick up the color the bomb's in. So here, let's just take the Typhon. I think it's close to the best card in the pack. Furious Rise might edge it out, but let's just nab up the Typhon here. Okay. Not seeing too many good black cards. Aspect is pretty low. So, 2 cards in the pack to really look at. There is Dreadful Apathy. Dreadful Apathy, great white removal spell. 3 mana, put it on something it can attack or block, and then you can just pay another 3, exile it, especially if it's like an escape creature. Very worth it. And if we wanted to branch into white, that's fine, but we have a Warbriar's Blessing in this pack. And I think on a power level, Dreadful Apathy and Warbriar's Blessing are pretty close to the same level. I think Apathy might be just a hair better than the Blessing, but we're in a deck where we already have 2 green fatties that wear a Warbriar's Blessing quite well. And because of that, I think I want to take the Blessing. Keeps us monocolor. We have things that take advantage of the Blessing, so let's just nab that up here. Alright. This pack, Scophos Maze Warden, pretty decent red card. 3/4 for 4. It really, if you have the Labyrinth, this thing gets silly. We don't have it. It would put us in a second color. Staggering Insight, I believe, is just the best card in the pack, but it's a gold card in 2 colors that we're not in, so I'm not super interested in taking it here, especially when we just have a Loathsome Chimera, which keeps us mono green. It keeps 4 power matters. This is a great enabler for that. It's another escape creature. We'd like it, we'd rather be escaping the Typhon. This is a better escape card. But we'll absolutely take a Chimera here. Again, I think the most powerful card in the pack, Staggering Insight, but we're pretty far away from that, so we'll go ahead and pick up a Chimera. Another thing that you can throw the Blessing on turns it into a 4/3, and it wins a lot of combats then. Okay. Alright, here we have 3 green cards, none of which are impressing me too much. Moss Viper's fine, but it gets blown out by Mogus's Favor so much that I'm quite a bit lower on it than I was at the start of the format. At the start I said, you know, hey look, it's a 1/1 Death Touch. Love it, trades for anything. But then Mogus's Favor was just so powerful that, you know, this just often eats a favor and then they can get the favor back, get something else. I really haven't been as impressed with the Moss Viper. Omen of the Hunt is fine if you want to get into more splashing. Right now we have nothing that we really want to splash. Not super high on taking this early to try to get the splashing to work. And then the other green card in the pack is this Cetessan Skirmisher. And this is really unimpressive. Again, it's 1 toughness. It gets absolutely wrecked by Mogus's Favor. I'm not super on board for that. So green cards in here don't excite me too much. What does excite me, though, is we have a Bad Breath Cow, Blight Breath Catoblepus. It's obviously better in a deck where you have more Black Devotion. Right now, we have no Black Devotion, so it gets a little bit worse there. Still, built-in 2-for-1, we can think about it. But I think I'm a little bit more on board for just taking Omen of the Sea this pack. Blue-green archetype wants to be Enchantment Fall heavy. Eutropia is the signpost uncommon there. It can launch things into the air. We have great things that we want to launch into the air. So I think here I want to take an Omen of the Sea and sort of spec and see if maybe green-blue is open. Again, none of these green cards super excite me. We're still leaning heavily green. It's likely going to be one of our colors. I'd rather take something that opens us up to be an archetype that I think is quite good, quite powerful in this format. So we'll take the Omen of the Sea. Alright. So nothing in this pack super exciting to me. Wave Rider's an okay. It's an okay enchantment payoff. I'm not in love with it. It's a 4-mana 3/3 and it occasionally has flying. That's fine, but it's not an enchantment creature itself, so I'm a little bit off of it here. 2 green cards in the pack. Gift of Strength. This can be fine out of the sideboard. Especially against a Dream Trawler. This can give a thing reach. You can block potentially a Dream Trawler or some other hard to deal with flyer and eat it with the gift. And then we also have Nihilious Forerunner. And the Forerunner, we're in a deck that, you know, has some pretty beefy things, and we're going to want to give them trample eventually. You know, Typhon's a lot scarier when it's a 4/4 with trample or a 7/7 with trample. The Boar is an absolute nightmare with trample. So we definitely want a way to give our things trample. We don't want multiple. We don't really have a curve this early on in the draft, but I think we'll take our first Forerunner. We can pass later ones. Other cards in this pack, I don't know if there's too many to consider. Whirlwind Denial's okay, but this wants to be, you know, blue-white, blue-black, even blue-red, not really blue-green. So we'll take the Forerunner. Alright. Still some green cards in this pack I like. Training is great. Again, we want to have ways to give these really beefy things trample. Training does that for us. Grove Dancer is just a good 2, but typically here on Arena they go really late. So let's see. We got creature, creature. We got big beefy boys. I think I want the first training. If we already had a training, though, I'd probably pick up the Grove Dancer. Alright, we're at another point where we have an option to take a green card. I am really not that impressed with this green card. However, we are, at this point, very nearly mono green. This could actually gain us some life. I've never really seen a deck that can take advantage of the Petitioner, but this might be an exception at this point. Other cards in this pack we could consider... Mirror Shield can be okay, usually sideboard against Death Touch, or if you're just trying to bogle something up. It might be alright to stick, on our Nessian board. It gives it a little bit more toughness. Not super high on it, though. I think we might just take... I don't know. We'll see if we can get a Wings of Hubris. I think we want exactly one copy of Wings of Hubris in this deck, just because we have beef. We want to throw that beef. We want to give it either trample. This can give it flying. And that might just win games on its own. Here, though, let's go ahead and take a Petitioner. We'll start it out in the main, but I'll likely end up cutting it. And there's our Wings. We want exactly one copy of Wings. Chainweb Arachneer came back around. We are getting hooked up for this green train. Chainweb's best card in this pack by a reasonable margin. Portent's good if you're in the black-red sack deck, but we're very far away from that, so we'll just take the Arachneer. I don't think we're an Inspiring Awe deck. I have yet to see that card work a single time. We only have, what, one enchantment creature and 2 enchantments. I'm not super hyped about that. I'd rather take something else. Riptide Turtle is better in a deck where you want to be, defensive and maybe winning in the air. We already have big things on the ground that can block, such as our Voracious Typhon and Nessian Boar and Nihilious Forerunner. So we have sort of the beef and even the defense taken care of because of that, so I don't really want to do that blue. Aspect is an okay card. I'm not really high on it, so I think we'll just take a Familiar for the sideboard. If we face a bunch of flyers, it might be useful. Here, I feel like we'll just take a Berserker for the sideboard. Well, green card's still here. Not super impressed with this, so I think I'd rather just take a Mirror Shield. We'll actually consider running it since we have, a Forerunner, which benefits a good bit from it. Turning it into a 5/5 hexproof's good. The boar benefits from it. That situation I painted in the beginning when we first took this card is the Nightmare situation is you attack with this, the opponent blocks with 3 or 4 creatures, they draw 3 or 4 cards, and then they use a removal spell to kill this. If we have the Mirror Shield on it, that possibility isn't there. And so the Nightmare scenario actually goes away, and this card gets slightly better because of it. We definitely will not run a second Wings sideboard. Okay. Well, our deck's plan has changed. We set ourselves up good in pack 1 to the point that we were very nearly monocolored, and that helped. Usually if you open a bomb rare and an off color, this would be a great chance. Snap it up, and then you're doing 2 colors. You set yourself up in your second color. Here we have a Dream Trawler, and Dream Trawler invalidates a lot of games. It's a ludicrous card. And at this point, we would need to find a way to splash. But we've set ourselves up in a way where we can either be green-white splashing blue, or green-blue splashing white. Now, the double pip splash is not ideal. It's hard to pull off. At this point, I sort of wish we had that one Omen of the Hunt. But we have some time to pick up fixing. There's a Traveler's Amulet down here. We could wheel that. But Dream Trawler is just so obscenely powerful that I think we have to take Dream Trawler and try to make it work. This card just ends games. And we're going to try to let it end this game. Okay. We know that we're not going to be black or red at this point. We really want to be green-blue or green-white. Timuret's good card, but I'm pretty far off of it. I think we just want to get this Dream Trawler to work. It is that powerful. That being said, what do we take here? I think we end up taking the Relentless Pursuit. When you have a card that's as powerful as Nessie and Boar to a lesser degree, but when you have a card that's as powerful as Dream Trawler, a majority of your game plan should be stay alive, draw a bunch of cards, find your big bomb, win the game. And Relentless Pursuit digs us 4 deep to try to find a trawler. It can also help us search for, our splash lands if we need that. And to be honest, if we cast this on turn 3, we see a trawler and we don't see our double pips, we could put the trawler in the graveyard and just take other things. So we'll take the Relentless Pursuit. We want to churn through this deck, try to find Dream Trawler. Okay. Best card in this pack, by a long ways, is Mire's Grasp. Some decent white cards out here, nothing I'm super in love with. Best card in the pack is probably Mire's Grasp, but I think we want to avoid black at this point. We really want to... We're definitely green, and we want to make a Dream Trawler work. That's a tall order. Revoke Existence. It's an alright white card. It lets us exile something. That's good. But I think here we just pick up our second Typhon. It's a big, beefy thing on the ground. It's going to be hard for them to push through all that and still have something to deal with the trawler. So let's just take our second Typhon. And that's a very reasonable other plan, is just, Typhon, escape our Typhons. We might not need the trawler, but I really want to make the trawler work here. This pack, Hoplite's alright if we had, White Devotion. We really don't, so I'm pretty past that. Leonin is, it's a decent 2-drop. It can exile an escape creature. It trades for a good bit. I like it here, but I think we have 2 more powerful cards in this pack. Loathsome Chimera. I'm a little bit more down on it now that we have 2 Typhons and 1 Chimera. These are sort of eating up all our escape. And with escape, the limiting resource is always going to be the number of cards in your graveyard. And with 3 escape cards already, I'm not super high on having to take a 4th. I'd rather just take a Return to Nature. This can deal with, occasionally artifacts, but usually it'll just kill an enchantment creature or exile an escape card from an opponent's graveyard. And we're definitely on green here still. Alright, here, I like just picking up a Traveler's Amulet. We really want to splash. We're still not dedicated on a second color, which I kind of like, and at the same time don't like, because that means we don't have a lot of pips for this Dream Trawler. But let's just take the Traveler's Amulet. Green card, Nylea's Forerunner. It's a good card, but we already have one. Second copy gets a lot worse than the first. Blue card, Sorcerer Meaning is... It's fine. We have a couple of enchantments already. I don't know if we're running these equipments anymore. Now that we have a Dream Trawler, I'm a little bit more down on Wings. The Wings is good for, you get into a board stall, you need to send something up in the air so that it can smash through. But if we end up in a board stall, we just want to find our trawler and resolve our trawler and win that way. So here, I think we'll just take a Traveler's Amulet. Okay, now I'm finally being pulled in a direction, finding Ichthyomorphosis, the turn to fish card this late. We already have an Omen of the Sea. That sort of pulls me into blue-green, and we can splash for the white. It's just a good removal spell. We can pick up a second Traveler's Amulet. We could also pick up our first copy of Thirst for Meaning. Now, we definitely want the splash, but we saw a Traveler's Amulet in our first pack, which should come around in 2 more picks, if it's still in the pack. And one thing that will be quite important in this draft is having card draw. We want to just dig through our deck as fast as humanly possible to find this Dream Trawler. So, because of that, I think I want to take the first Thirst for Meaning, just so that we can draw through to our bombs. Alright. We don't want to take Unknown Shores. This is only good if you're splashing 2 colors. And it looks like we're sort of settling into blue-green splashing the white, so I don't love this. I'd rather just take our decent 2-drop, which actually counts as an enchantment for the Thirst for Meaning that we just put in, so we could potentially pitch this to that. Blue cards here, Memory Drain, Sage of Mysteries, not super high on either of those, especially not in the blue-green deck. Alright, it looks like we didn't wheel that other amulet. We have one. I'd like to find at least one more for this deck, but we're okay for now. Since we could take Triumphant Surge, this is an okay splash card, but it looks like we want to be more blue. I'll take a Memory Drain, throw it in the sideboard. Here's a Plummet for the sideboard. Here, we will take a Wave Runner. We may just need it to hit playables in this deck. We'll take a Scout. Again, we might need it to hit playables. It looks like we're doing alright. Memory Drain for the on color. We don't care about that pick. And, oh jeez. Well, there's a Phoenix of Ash. We cannot splash anything else. We could take it for gems for constructed applications, but I think with a Dream Trawler and this being best of 3, we want to take just the best card in the pack. Of that, I see, if we wanted to splash Irosa's Blessing, but our splash is pretty much just going to be this Dream Trawler at this point. So I don't love this card here. Pack 1, pick 1, it would definitely be the Phoenix, the Irosa's Blessing. Probably, that would be second, but it's a fairly distant second. The Phoenix is just good. Here, we either want the Blessing or the Omen of the Sea. How are we doing removal-wise? We have 1 Return to Nature, 1 Warbrier's Blessing, 1 Ichthyomorphosis. We don't have a ton of other fixing, so I think here I will take the second Warbrier's Blessing. This pack. If we're already splashing white for Dream Trawler, I don't hate also putting in a Banishing Light in this deck. That's pretty decent splash card. It's good late in the game. Exile something, just absolutely gets rid of it unconditionally. It's a great card, and it's so much better than the mediocre blue and green cards that we have here that I want to take it. Alright, this pack, we got a couple of decent green cards, but I see another Turn to Fish. We just want removal. We want to get to the stage in the game when we can cast the Dream Trawler and win with the Dream Trawler. Basically, very little else matters. So let's just take the Icky Fish. Okay, here I see a Destiny Spinner. That's probably just what we want. It can, if we have this out and Dream Crawler comes out, It can't be countered, which is one of the few ways to deal with a Dream Trawler. I still don't see fixing. I'm getting a little bit nervous about not picking up, you know, a second source of fixing. We have one amulet. We'd really like to find another one. I don't think we're running the Mirror Shield anymore. So let's just take the Destiny Spinner here. Other things that we could consider are the Staggering Insight, but that would be a splash, and I don't like this nearly as much when we're splashing it. I'd like this basically only in the white-blue deck, where you can go, like, turn 2 Transcendent Envoy, turn 3 slap Staggering Insight on it, attack in for 2 lifelinking in the air, you get to draw a card, and you can sort of go off doing that. In this deck, that's not what we would do. This would come down very late. We'd have to find a great thing to put it on, and we have a couple of beefy things, but yeah, it wouldn't be nearly as good as it is in the blue-white deck. We'll just take the Destiny Spinner. And here we'll take a Mystic Repeal. Puts it on the bottom of their deck. They don't even get the escape out of it. It's fantastic. Here I'll take probably just a Triumphant Surge for the sideboard. Come on, fixing. Well, there's an old adage among senior drafters that card draw is fixing. And with that, we're just going to take another Thirst for Meaning. These are going to dig us through the deck so that we can find our bomb and win. So we'll assume that our fixing is just card draw and try to get there that way. We'll take a Soul Guy Lantern sideboard card. And here I'll take a Broke Dancer, just a decent 2-drop. Don't really care about playing that. Wow, alright, so we actually have a choice here. Late in pack 3, Starlit Mantle helps protect something, but we don't have things that we particularly need to protect. The Boar is maybe the most important, but for the most part, the Dream Trawler just protects itself, so we don't really need this. Training is card draw. How are we doing on our 2-drops? We only have 3 2-drops, so I'm kind of tempted just to take one more 2-drop here. Wow, alright. Another Plummet for the sideboard. We'll throw Sleep of the Dead in the sideboard. Port can go in there as well. Okay. Now the interesting part. How on earth does the mana work in this deck? I absolutely do not recommend this sort of drafting to basically anyone. This is, you know, fairly high variance, but we opened a Dream Trawler. What were we supposed to do? So I don't really like Petitioner. Even though we are heavy green, it just doesn't do enough. We have a lot of card draw. And doing that much... Exactly, Dream Trawler. What else were we supposed to do? We were heavy green, and we opened up a blue-white mythic. I know it says rare, but it's really a mythic. It's giving us 17 lands. We have 1 Traveler's Amulet. I'm definitely not running. We have to fix this mana. And I think fixing the mana might be where we end up cutting our last card anyways. So let's get these lands out of here. And let's think. We need at least 2 here. We have our 3rd source in the amulet, so I'm definitely running at least 2 planes. We can consider going to a 3rd. Number of islands we want to run. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, 7, other 2 pips here. So this is going to be heavier than white, but it's still almost, it's borderline a splash color still. So I don't like maybe going just 5 islands. We're leaning heavily green, but our blue can card draw us into other things. And then I'm kind of almost liking just cutting one forest. Since we have the amulet, this sort of acts as our 17th land anyways. Most of our action is down here in the 2 or 3 drop slot, and we only have, you know, a total of 5 cards that have 4 mana, that cost 4 mana or more. So we can do a decent job of sort of stabilizing, establishing something down here until we can get to our big massive threats that should just win the game. We're playing, this is an interesting, it's sort of a, it's a Bant control deck. We want to use our control cards and our, you know, big butts on the ground, lock them down until Dream Trawler resolves. So 952. Do we have to be careful with only 2 planes? Do I go down to 8 forests and go up 1 more planes? I kind of don't think so. We should only need 2 of them. It's gonna be really hard for me to think of a scenario where we would need a 3rd. Basically, we would have to mill it over some way or discard it with, like, Thirst for Meaning. And with that said, maybe we want 1 more. I don't really want to cut a forest. We definitely need green. So yeah, let's just run it like this and know that we only have 2 planes, and if we end up pitching any, then that just means Dream Trawler doesn't resolve. But oh, now that I say that, I don't ever want Dream Trawler to not be able to be played. So let's go up 1 planes, let's cut 1 forest, and that's 8/8. Actually, I lied. Let's go down 1 island, go up 1 forest. And we still have the amulet that helps fix us. So I like this, you know, this mana split. Let's just go ahead and let's see what this deck can do. Oh yeah, let's name it and put on some much better sleeves. Oh, let's run the control ones. Cryptic Command. And then this is Pack 2 Trawler. We'll start with the Nessie and Boar on the art. Pack 2 Trawler. I like it. Alright, let's see how this deck goes. Let me go update my spreadsheet here real quick. Say that I fired off a draft, how much entry it was, and a little bit about what we ended up in. So let's see. Traditional draft, we didn't spend any gold, we spent the 1500 gems, and this is green. Green Dream Trawler, we didn't get any gems off the rare grind. And that's that. Let's go ahead, minimize that, and let's jump into the games. And of course, waiting for the server, that's never a good sign. Come on, Magic Arena, you can do it. Unable to submit deck. Please try again later. That's new. I am still connected to the internet, correct? Stream looks like it's still up. I can get out to YouTube on browser. Okay, well that's interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and manually save what this looks like right now. Just do a screenshot of it. We'll save that into drafts as mono green trawler. Minimize that window. And can I get out here? Save and exit. Hey, there we go. Okay, now it's working. We'll add that to our deck. Add that to our decks. This is what it looks like. And let's see if we can dream trawler people with a more or less mono green deck. Well, some hands just got a mulligan. Alright, we will keep this. And oh goodness. Goodness, goodness, goodness. This is what we get. So if we ditch one of the planes, we end up having to go find it with the Traveler's Amulet. If we ditch a forest, we're more likely to... Oh no, wait. We have a third planes, but I don't really want to get rid of it since we have the Trawler in hand. So let's pitch a forest and know our first plays on turn 4 with the Typhon. Oof. That's not great. Alright, we have an answer to the very first thing. We have an answer for the first 2 enchantments. They look like they're holding up counter... Oh, goodness. And we drew the planes anyways. Oh, deck. Oh, deck, oh, deck. Well, I think we're throwing them off a little bit. Alright. They can have a 2/2 Flash Flyer. Oh, punished for putting the forest back now. Well, if they try to aura it up, we actually have an answer for that. We're not in that big of trouble yet. We're in a bit more trouble than that. Alright, they likely have a Deny the Divine here, which exiles, unfortunately. But I think we have to just play it out. We can't just sit back and not do anything. A Whirlwind Denial. Luckily, it goes to the graveyard then, so if we can get up to a bunch more cards in the graveyard, we can do something. Oh, we're a little bit behind it here. That's letting us exile a card from their graveyard. It's not doing anything. And mana punished. Well, we knew that would happen some games. Can't be too sad about it. We'll take note of what they have in the deck. Whirlwind Denial, Vexing Gull. Naiad of Hidden Coves. Well, at least we have targets for our things now. And I think we'll just Mystic Appeal that. Alright. Still destroy it. Doesn't look like it matters at all. Alright, well, we got punished for our mana pretty good there. What can we bring in to fight that? They showed, what, one flyer, one thing that's harder to deal with, but we can deal with it with the Icky Fish and the Warbrier's Blessing. etc. Maybe we cut the training here to go up. We don't really need to gain life. We honestly just need creatures, I feel. Maybe it's worth bringing in one of those for another non-creature thing. The Mystic Repeal didn't look great there. Alright. Just try to bring in more creatures. I think we're probably pretty creature light, and they just ran us over with like 2 and 3 drops. We'll play. That's a 0-lander. Alright, 2-lander, but all high drops. I think we can keep it. We'll pitch the Forerunner for now. And maybe Forerunner is a card we should discuss not having. Alright, come on, mana. Pull through for us here. One time, land. Alright, 2-drop. That's at least something. Alright, and we can Omen of the Sea end of turn. Fantastic. They're likely just holding up a counterspell here. So we'll punish them for not using their mana. If they flash in a Gull, we'll flash in a... We'd like to just find land. That's land and a creature. But I think we just want the land here. Alright, that's a fine thing to throw Ichthyomorphosis on. Let's just keep trading damage for now. They might have a way to get that back. That might be why they wouldn't give it up there. To prevent just 2. Ah, they had a second. Alright. Well, here we'll just slam that and say go Voracious Typhon. They are looking like they want to be down in the air. Maybe with that one Wave Rider we should have brought in the Plummet, since it can get flying. Final death, okay. You don't have blocks. Things looking a little suspect here. Chimera trades, Tower Scout trades. Tower Scout can untap this. So we get in for a cheeky 2. Then we can play out the Scout. Untap our Grove Dancer. Witness. Well, Witness is a great target for the Return to Nature, but we are just dying in the air really fast here. So I think... Let's fire off the Return to Nature. Oh, we probably should have held this back, because only if they give that flying could they have attacked in with it. That was probably a bad move. Here I'm thinking we're in a race and we're not. Alright, doesn't matter, they would have Mire's Grasp it anyways, so I don't think that was optimal playing, but you know, we gave that up anyways. And they just have Pump here to win. Well, that didn't go super well. Blue-black Flyers. That's an interesting archetype opponent. And let's reevaluate the deck. I feel like... Well, our main plan is still just the beats. But we have a lot of control elements beyond that. Maybe we're not supposed to run a second Thirst for Meaning, and maybe that's just supposed to... maybe that's just supposed to be another creature. Maybe it's just supposed to be a Tower Scout so that we actually have a couple of creatures in this deck. And since we have some other removal, maybe we don't want the Mystic Repeal, and that can be one other creature here. Petitioner, maybe. Only other option would be like the Wave Rider. That's a fine 4-drop. Let's go ahead and throw one in. Just trying to get our creature count up a little bit. And we'll hope whoever we face here in the 0-1 bracket isn't suspecting a Dream Trawler at a mono green. Okay. Well, we'll keep this. This seems reasonable. Yeah, we'll play out the Amulet, and we don't have any double blues, so we'll just go ahead and get our first white with it. If we have a chance. We'll start out with the Dancer. It currently blocks everything they have. Oh. Alright, well, we're behind it a little bit with that. Relentless Pursuit can only get creatures and lands, so maybe we're not supposed to be running that. Here, let's just get our card draw. And yeah, we'll go ahead and crack this. Find a, like maybe just a plains. No attacks here. And this sets it up. If they don't do anything to augment the champion, we can fight it with a blessing. Alright, so we actually get to kill that with a blessing. That's fantastic. They don't know about the forest, they know about the plains. So we'll go ahead and do this and hold up Return to Nature. We just have to kill that champion before they can start getting triggers off of it. And no attacks here. We're just gonna wait to drop our Dream Trawler. Fantastic. We want to plains, that way if we draw our island, we can Dream Trawler. And here, yeah, I think we'll just Relentless Pursuit. That still holds up Return to Nature. And, oh, we're pitching 3 other good things, but we are getting the island to cast the Trawler, so I guess I can only be so sad. We are not racing. Renata. Alright. Out of here. Kill it before the beetle can get its trigger and get a counter. Fantastic. We're just gonna go ahead and run Dream Trawler in this game. Oh, and pitching lands actually means we gain life. That's interesting. Hadn't thought of that interaction. Opponent, is this the first time they saw Dream Trawler, or was that their best move? They're reading Dream Trawler. They're realizing why Dream Trawler is a classic Magic card. Alright, we're just gonna get in with Trawler. And we could drop the Tower Scout. I think that's fine. It actually untaps Dream Trawler. And we don't really care about the Arachneer. In fact, it's not the worst thing if we end up pitching it to the graveyard with the Dream Trawler, because we'll just be able to get it back. Get in with the Trawler, get our card. And I don't necessarily mind having one more Grove Dancer out there. Alright, next turn, if they don't block, we can actually use the Thirst for Meaning to push in lethal. And also, now that we have a Destiny Spinner on board, I don't mind having one more land out there so that we can use the ability a little bit more effectively. As for the Arachneer, I don't really care at this point. So yeah, we'll see if Surprise Lethal with the Dream Trawler is an option. And if that doesn't work out, well, they'll have to deal with a Nessian Boar, so. Did they find removal for the Trawler? Doesn't look like it. What are they doing counting cards in our graveyard? Next to blockers. No blocks means we just Thirst for Meaning, draw 3, which will pump the Dream Trawler by 3. And yeah, we'll just pitch it to the Dancer here. Win the game. Magic card. Luckily, it's a dumb magic card on our side of the board. They had one good rare. They had the Cetessan Champion. They also had a Renata, so they have some decent stuff. Triumph of the Surge gets them if they're 4 power, and those can get up to 4 power with the Beetle. They likely have some 4 power things, so I don't absolutely hate bringing in that. And I think we cut the Relentless Pursuit. It looked pretty bad there. Yeah, it was able to get us the island, but we're so low on creatures, I think we should just not be running that. What else? Did they show a number of enchantments? They showed Renata. With the champion, I imagine they have some more. So I don't hate having the Mystic Repeal here. And let's cut another non-creature. Probably just training. No graveyard shenanigans. They're green-white. They might have a green escape card or something. No flying, so we don't need to worry about plummets. And we don't really have to worry about the rest of this stuff here. So yeah, let's just run it like this. Yeah, the second thirst, that's something we can consider bringing in. I definitely think going into the next match, we definitely don't want the Relentless Pursuit. We're so low on creatures that I just don't think it matters. And we have enough enchantments that having another Thirst for Meaning, I think, would be good. So yeah, I think after this match, if we can get there, we'll put in the second Thirst for Meaning. It looked really good there. It's good card selection as well, and we have a number of enchantments as well. So I think that's definitely something we'll do at the end of this match. Alright, this looks pretty great. No Dream Trawler, no white, but decent blue and green cards to get us started. And even a removal spell off the top. Well, they're going 1-drop, 2-drop. This will at least block the Arachneer. Maybe they just have the Cetessan Champion here on 3? That'd be kind of scary. We don't have a great answer for it right now. Sentinel's Eyes. Okay. I'm willing to trade my 2-drop for a trick. I don't like a trick that stays around. Well, we only have one option. Drop the Tower Scout. Opponent is showing us why they are the colors they are. Do they have another trick? No, it doesn't look like it there. We need to block some damage. Ah, that's fantastic. That actually blows them out here once. So I think here we're just gonna drop the Wave Rider. Have a second 3/3 on board. But then next turn we can have Repeal and Blessing, and hopefully get a blowout. Omen of the Sun. Surge, not looking great here. But we've done a fair bit of stabilizing. Alright, we can double block the Spider. Flicker of Fate. That's... that doesn't... Okay, that saves their thing, but it doesn't actually kill any of ours. So, I think they definitely screwed that up. In what way, I'm not quite sure, but they screwed it up. So here, we're going to drop the Forerunner. That'll help us stabilize. It often threatens to just eat the Arachneer. And we could get in with a Wave Rider here. I like no attacks, though. Let's just hold back on D here. let's see. Are they scrying top or are they scrying bottom? 2 top. Okay, that's a little scary. We do have a fight removal spell. We also have a mystic repeal. Both will be up next turn. I'm a little bit scared. They topped. They're not attacking him with a spider. They might just be willing to 1-for-1 themselves here, and both of these are fine to 1-for-1 forge. So I'll double block. Means we get it almost certainly. Okay. And they just decided to kill. Maybe they just really wanted the Sentinel's Eyes to go back like on the Arachnir? Okay, another Arachnir. Okay, here I like killing their Arachnir. We have perfect information. We might as well just kill it, pump up our 5/3. Even if they bring it back, we don't have any flyers right now, and we have the Mystic Repeal to get rid of this Sentinel's Eyes for good. And let's just hold back blockers. They topped a land? Because they topped. That was one of their tops. And it was a land. They're gonna bring out a spider. That's arguably a little scary, but we have a 5/5 now. We're not, very scared of it. We can throw out Destiny Spinner safely. And we can activate, but it doesn't actually give us a land. Alright. Here... we can activate and still do Mystic Repeal, so I kind of like just saving the forest for if we draw something. We have 1, 2, 3 enchantments only, so our land would be a 3/3. I'd rather not attack. If they Sentinel's Eyes up the Arachnir and swing in, it looks like they have a favorable attack, but we can repeal the Sentinel's Eyes, have a good block on it. I don't know what they're doing. Here I'm just going to drop the board. It has trample right now. And would end up just trading for their whole board. They get to draw a bunch of cards though. So this is one of those cases where board doesn't feel great. And I'd rather just keep it back on D. And now we have a Thirst for Meaning to go digging. So, I mean, we need to win this game eventually. But we have a win con. It's called Dream Trawler and it's still in our deck. So let's just end the turn there and we can do some stuff at instant speed finally. Keeping this land is also something we can pitch for the Thirst of Meaning. That way, Thirst for Meaning, that way we are not ditching, an enchantment. Alright, 1/4 reach. That's fine. Let's go digging. And we still don't have white, but Banishing Light's such a good removal spell that I'm going to decline and we're just going to pitch some... Oh, if we pitch one land, we can also pitch the Typhon. Do we have enough to get the Typhon back because of it? Yes, because the Thirst for Meaning will go to the graveyard. We don't care about any of that, so we're going to go ahead and actually pitch the Typhon here so we can reanimate it as a big boy here this turn. And there's our Dream Trawler. We have the land. And we can go ahead and get a Titan on board. Still don't think we're attacking here. They have stuff, but I haven't been impressed so far. So here I say we just get in with the Typhon. They'd have to give up a lot of board. Chump blocking's not an option because of trample. I mean, it's an option, but it's a really bad option. So let's just start getting in there. And yeah, we would like to find, you know, island, and really get there. But it looks like they're willing to put enough stuff on this to actually trade. We could put both Arachnirs in the graveyard. And I don't love that. We can, well, we can also just kill 2 1/1s. I like that a little bit better. This does block Trawler, though. So this is only 4. It can't actually kill the Trawler, but we also have a Banishing Light to get rid of it. Yeah, let's just go ahead and kill some 1/1s. Alright, we can drop Loathsome Chimera, still hold up the Super Heal. Veteran, that's a good card, opponent. But we have big enough things to just block the 4/4 Indestructible and also eat this. Sentinel's Eyes, okay. They're finally gonna put it there. They actually exiled their Arachnir to do so. And yeah, that's fine. Give some life. But will the Sentinel's Eyes, that's a great thing to go ahead and put on the bottom of their library. Now, it doesn't really matter if we do it now or later. Here, we're just being mana efficient. We'll throw out a Grove Dancer. And we actually have enough that we can animate a forest and get in. It's going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4/4. That attacks through all their stuff, so I actually like doing so. And it's a 4/4 Trampler, so let's get in there. We have enough other good things to block with. We don't need to block with the land. Ah, now they have a Death Toucher, which they might happily give up for a land. So let's just do the same play. Let's animate a land. Send it in there. Oops. We definitely don't want to tap that one. And if we attack with Boar, we can't actually take out their whole board, so I don't like it. Let's just get in there with the 4/4 land. We're actually going to gain life off of this, and we don't mind if the land goes to the graveyard. It's a way to get a land to the graveyard, and that's just going to help fuel the escape on the Typhon. We want to make sure we have enough lands to keep doing that, so I will drop another one there. Here we only ever need 2 islands, literally ever, so we might just fire up the island now and send it in. Chain Web, reasonable. Let's throw that out there. Let's fire up. Let's fire up 1 island. We only ever need 2 islands for the Trawler, so I don't mind sending this one in. And we'll have to keep an eye out. At some point here, we are just going to have lethal because everything's going to have to block the boar. So we can push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 15, 17 damage that way. Do we care? They could have a +2/+2 and indestructible or something. How much damage did I say we had? We had 3, 6, 10, 15, 17. So we just have lethal. Yeah, we just have lethal unless they have a removal spell here. And we don't even need to fire up a land. And if we do, we still have enough to pay for a return to nature. Everything has to block the boar, everything else gets through. We just have lethal. They get to draw a billion cards here. So let's kill... That's 5. I don't necessarily mind letting... I don't really want to kill the Arachnir, but... I guess we don't have to. We can just do it like that and let the Arachnir live. They get to draw a bunch of cards, but unless they're really good cards, we just win the game. So this is a little bit risky. But they have to have legitimate answers. And it has to be here at instant speed. Did they get something? Are they thinking about it? I really don't know. They were getting a pause there, which means they likely have something at instant speed. But does it matter? Animating that land gave us 4 more points of damage. We were already at 17, so that made it 21. Even if they can kill our 5/5, we still get there. There's no instant speed fogs in this format. It doesn't matter if they can augment their own creatures, because the boar is just the lure effect matters here. They tap 5. Whoa! Well then. That didn't shrink our land. Whoa. And blessing to save their day. Oh wait, it doesn't actually save it. Okay. Well, if they have pump, they can just pump and win. Maybe that blessing was it, and they punted that one away. Oh no, wait. They get to just pump the thing for lethal. Okay. Maybe that wasn't the smartest plan. We had him on the ropes, And now we know they have a Heliod's intervention to play around, so I did like that other Thirst for Mating. I don't like the Triumphant Surge. Oh, blown up by a rare. Ouch. Well, we went for a win the game, and it didn't work. I see a Dream Trawler, and we have Thirst to dig for action. And we even find the game. Go ahead and find our white source now, so that we have Bantron for turn 3. That's alright. Yeah, we'll play that, have the Thirst up. Just draw some cards, go looking for the rest of our mana. Okay, we could ditch a Forerunner or an Omen. Omen's more draw. If we don't ditch that, what are we pitching? It looks like it would be 2 creatures, so maybe just pitch the Omen of the Sea here. Let's go Typhon. Opponent deal with a 4/4. Well, we're throwing that on the bottom of their... library before they can get value out of it. So we're just going to go 3/3. We're going to throw that on the bottom of their library and get in with our 4/4. Yes, thank you, River. That was definitely a punt right there. Heliod's Punishment. This card is not good unless you can win the game in the 4 turns that you lock something down. If you are just throwing it on something to get it out of the way temporarily, it's not great, especially if the opponent might just have the second one. So we'll tap it now so I don't forget. Play our second one. Hey, thanks for following. And if we attack, I actually don't mind trading. Do I mind trading Nessian Wanderer for Triton Wave Rider? Does limit the number of blocks that they have. We give up our 3/3 to kill their 1/3. Usually that's not great, but here I think we'll go for it. This is drawing them so many lands. I don't like letting them have that value, and if we just hit in for 3, I'm totally cool with that. Alright, we have 6 lands out. We don't really have much to do with them. Let's just, let's go ahead and tap this before I forget. Let's throw out the Forerunner. And that'll throw that up in the air. And I don't really want to play another land here. I'd rather just hold on to them. When this Trawler comes down, we're going to want cards in hand. So yeah, let's get in there with a Wave Rider. That has Trample. Alright. Grove Dancer. This is another enchantment. It'll throw the Wave Rider up in the air. And here, I kind of like pressuring them a little bit with this other Typhon. Flicker of Fate. Again, I really don't think this is how you want to be using your flickers. This is literally just preventing damage by the opponent. They're not removing our creature. They are just delaying the inevitable. And even if they block with 1, we still chip in for a point. Yeah, they'll eventually be able to reanimate them. Okay, and if they double block, we still get 1. We just don't get that extra point of damage since we block the opponent. And the turn here, we hit our blue source, we get to go Dream Trawler and end this. Spinner does a decent job of that. And with Spinner, I actually want 1 more land out. It means we can animate a land and send it in with the rest of these folks. We're going to throw the Wave Rider up in the air. We're going to animate a land. It's going to be a... yeah, 3-3. That attacks pretty well on this board. Get in there, 4-4, 3-3, 3-3. I don't know, do we attack with a 5-5 here? That's getting trampled, but they'd have to do stuff, and they actually don't have a great block on the Grove Dancer, so let's get in there with just everything. Alright, they're just flickering our thing. Again, they're just sending us back, but it comes back in, so our stuff still has trample. Yep, stuff still has trample. In there for a bunch. And unless they can wrath us, it's almost over. We have a lot of enchantment things out there that Heliod's intervention could blow us out again. They don't have it. They just... Alright, got there. That pulls us up to 1-1, and let me update the record here real quick, and we'll go back into deck building because there is a few things I definitely want to switch up here. So we were at 0-1, we are now at 1-1. Hey, thanks for the optimal yay there. Hey, we got a bunch of people watching the stream tonight, thanks. So what I definitely want to cut is I want to cut the Relentless Pursuit for another Thirst for Meaning. The Pursuit, I think, is generally going to be the better card here. The problem with it is we're really low on creatures. And so usually this is a 3-mana, draw 2, put 2 in your graveyard. You get 1 land, 1 creature out of it. But when we're so low on creatures, we're not guaranteed to get a creature out of it, so we just gotta land. I'd rather have the Thirst for Meaning. It also digs 3 deep, but it doesn't matter what they are. It doesn't matter that we're really low on creatures. And we have a fair number of enchantments here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11... 12 technically, and a couple of them, you know, like an extra Grove Dancer when the board's already clogged. We don't really need another 2-2 then, so this is fine to pitch. We pitched the Omen of the Sea once, just to keep more creature action, so there's a couple of things, you know, down here at the low end that we don't mind pitching to it. Other than that, we have 1 Wave Rider just to, you know, pump up our creatures. We have how many creatures in this deck? Only 13. It's pretty low. 12 enchantments. And we're only running the 16 lands with the Traveler Amulet Splash. And so far, our planes have loved us. Our islands have stayed a little bit away. We lost at least 1 game because of mana. We'll see if we can keep that from happening as we look forward to getting our gems back for entering this event. So let's jump right in and see what Game 3 has to offer. Now we're in the 1-1 bracket. Hopefully, people don't have anything too crazy like a Dream Trawler. Except us, we can have a Dream Trawler. Alright, this is great. We got a turn 2 creature. Omen on 3, and we have a 5-drop that could just potentially end this. And we have Bantron to start, so yeah, I really can't complain about this hand. Oh, removal spell even? Thank you, deck. Alright, that removal spell is going to get used immediately. Contestant Champion is a rare that you just can't let live. As soon as they can start drawing cards off of it, they run away with a game so quickly. That can get so big that I'd just lock it down right now before they can get the value out of it. Big little chain web out there. And there they would have had 2 draws, they would have pumped this. So I'm really glad we have that locked down here. Alright, interesting choice here. We can just play the Wave Rider. That might be good enough, start being able to chip in. Let's see if they're willing to take this trade first. Okay, no trades. So yeah, let's just go ahead and drop our planes, drop our 3/3. 1 blue mana, that means they likely have the bounce. So yeah, they're gonna return Icky Fish to our hand and get their 1/3 unlocked. They should have done that before. Oh, they must have drawn that off of the training. That's the only explanation. Otherwise, they would have done it first. Well, that sort of scripts next turn. We'll have to go ahead and drop the Forest, drop the Turn to Fish on the Champion again, lock it back down. And then we can either play a Grove Dancer or just wait and play Omen of the Sea at instant speed. Blessing. That doesn't actually kill an opponent. Do they have another way? Oh my, alright. Well, jeez. We were right to worry about it and lock it down. We're gonna have to lock it back down here. We have to turn its abilities off, and I think we just want to develop board here. Next turn we have to wait for mana. Let's no attacks, let's hold them back. Relentless Pursuit, so they got a big dude and a land. So that'll be a little bit of a problem. The big dude, where's the... It's a 6/7, which means it can actually attack into the Nessian Boar. I do not love that. You know, it trades 1 for 1 with a boar, and that's not particularly where I want to be. So we could try to double block the Arachneer, but then that sends it to the graveyard. They can get it back even better. I don't love that. We're just gonna no blocks there. And let's go ahead and play Nessian Boar. Shut down their attacks here. And do we get in there? Yeah, I think we do. They're gonna have to pretty much play their big dude here. If they have a land. If they don't have a land, it's really good for us. If they don't have a land, Boar could just about end this game for us. Or come pretty close. Okay, opponent. Okay. So... do we want to be the ones to attack in? I believe so. Well, hold on. Either we get to draw cards or they get to draw cards. They'll get to draw cards here, but they're tapped out. We can do it safely. And if we training it, we can actually take out the champion as well as their boar. And that just gets 2 powerful rares off the board. I have a hard time saying no to that. They're forced into blocks here. They're forced into blocks here. There you go, opponent. And we can take out the champion as well as their boar. We'll let the Arachnir on board. They get to draw 3 cards, which is the only part of this that I don't love. We did take out, you know, sort of 2 of their busted rares there. And I think we just want to max our mana and try to clog up the board here. If we can go wide enough, we have a chance to get there. And they'll probably just drop their thick boy. No, another rare. My goodness, we have seen 3 green rares out of this opponent. Must be nice. Excuse me. Binding of the Titans. Oh, we get a whole bunch of Grove Dancer activations. That's kind of nice. One of the planes in there, we have 2 more. We have 1 more planes in deck. So running a little bit low on that. Okay, Blessing. Blessing doesn't actually take out anything here. So I think I just want to play the biggest dude that we got. Pass. This offers to have a fine trade with Colossus as well as a Grove Dancer. They get a 2-for-1, but we threaten to at least take it out at this point. And it blocks both of their things, threatens to eat both of them. We don't have any attacks. Oh, they could just have a return to nature here. I bet that's what it is. Yep. That's a reason. Big enchantment creatures are not great in this format. They die to return to nature like that. We're still not super sad. Things are still going alright for us. And we can still set up a, they get a 2-for-1 if they attack with a Colossus, but we can trade just like a Tower Scout and a Grove Dancer for it, and that doesn't feel too bad. Well, we'd like something bigger to throw this Blessing on, so I think this turn I'm just gonna drop a Dancer. Again, we can only a 2-for-1 double block here. It's not that bad, and we'll hold up the Omen of the Sea. Actually, we have a 1-for-1 here. But then we don't have enough stuff to trade for the Colossus. But we can go looking for that with our Omen of the Sea. So they get a creature or land. Oh, they can bring back the champion or the boar or something. That's pretty good for them. Alright, they're bringing back the boar. So we need to dig for an answer for the boar this next turn. So that's what we're looking at for Omen of the Sea. So we have, what do we have? We have Ichthyomorphosis. We have Banishing Light. Relentless Pursuit. Okay. They hit 4 lands. Oh. I mean, it's nice to not have a land there. Now we'll go ahead and do the Omen of the Sea. We might have wanted to wait till after attacks. Neither one of these do it. Does the Typhon offer particularly great blocks? Typhon puts 4 more power out there. They get in for a free cheeky 9 and nearly wrath our board. But it wears a blessing pretty well. The problem is we can't actually do it and blessing unless we have a land. So we could drop it. We'll have 4 to drop it, and then blessing. So I actually like both of these. Let's just pick up the Typhon. Let's forest, Typhon, and then blessing on Typhon, kill the Forerunner. Their thing no longer has trample. And we're gonna sit here with a 4/6, which means, you know, even with the all block, they can only kill this and 2 Grove Dancers. It's still not great for us, but things got a lot better being able to kill that Forerunner. So we still don't have our answer to the boar, but we're closer. And next turn, if we need to, we can actually just take out another thing with our other blessing in hand with the Typhon if they don't attack here. And depending on what they do, I'm going to put an upkeep stop on. We may crack this Omen on upkeep to scry. They're down to 7 in library, so decking is a real possibility here. They might be thinking that they have to close it out before decking becomes a factor. So we'll keep an eye on that. They've done enough self-milling that that's becoming an issue for them. Alright, here, can we take out anything vital? Not really. I mean, we could take out the Chimera, but then they'd bring it back. Does that buy us a turn, though? Even if we upkeep Scry, we can still do that. That's one of our outs. So yeah, let's crack this. We can find a Banishing Light, we can find an Icky Fish. And turns out we find Banishing Light. That gets rid of the boar, makes things a lot better. So let's go ahead and take out the boar. That changes the race significantly, no attacks. And opponent has 6 in library. Decking is going to be a real concern for them. So we might just be able to wait this out. What was I saying about waiting it out? Their one thing has trample here. Okay. So... my goodness. Well, it's not trample. And just block like that, that way we can get the Typhon back. And we'll let the tower scout out, because it does an okay job of blocking. Rip the Grove Dancers. That's a way to end a game, opponent, but not quite. Not quite gonna do it here. Oh. Well, we can take out the Chimera, and this is a pretty decent blocker then. They'll be able to get it back, but they'll end up spending mana. It can't attack next turn. We're in no position to attack. We'd really like to find a land to bring this Typhon back. Oh, goodness. Alright, force block. even then, that has trample, so we're dead. Alright, so they look like they're mono-green mill stuff. Did they have many enchantments? They had a couple that we wouldn't mind being able to take out. Mostly it's that boar. They do have a forerunner. They have 2 forerunners. So having the Mystic Repeal doesn't feel too bad here. And did they have much escape? They showed the Arachnir. They're set up to do escape. They showed a Chimera. So I don't mind pulling in a Soul Guide Lantern to be able to fight against that. And then I don't think we can support Memory Drain, but they had some big beefy stuff, so I think Triumphant Surge could be good here. What doesn't feel good here? They showed a couple that removes something. We don't really care about, giving our thing trample. We're still 1 card over. And our fights don't seem great here, but I'm also hesitant to cut them. The Return to Fish, Turn to Fish and Banishing Light are going to be all-stars if they show up. We may just end up running it with 41, because I don't know what to cut here. Maybe the Soul Guide Lantern. Yeah, Soul Guide Lantern. They only showed, a few escape things. They're really set up for it, but we didn't see much. We didn't see any, unnaturally good things. Okay, this is fine. We can go Arachnir, Traveler's Amulet, find a blue if we need, or find a green if we need. And I think with this match, it's pretty much Dream Trawler or bust. Other matches we have a chance of, just getting there with nice, big, beefy boys, the Voracious Typhon, Loathsome Chimera, those sorts of things, and just beating down, especially with the boar that we have. But in this match, the opponent's also doing very big, green, beefy creatures, so I feel like Dream Trawler is going to be the way we need to get there. 2 spiders stared at each other in the dark. Okay, here we're gonna, of course, go ahead and get our blue source. Our second green source, so that we can cast this Typhon. But we'll hold off on that. Probably have a play the next few turns, though. So let's hold off on it. We really want to have that on 3. We don't necessarily want to play Icky Fish on 3, though. So let's see what we draw here. Because we'd really like to use this amulet to find one of the splash colors, not one of our main colors. Wonderful. Sure. Seems like a really underpowered use for that, but I mean, kills our 1 drop. Yay, opponent. We don't really want to do anything on this turn. And now we'll probably have to resign ourselves to pulling the green. Of course, we could not and still drop a Triton. Let's see what happens here. If they drop something, this is a 1/4, so Triton just bounces off of it, whereas the Typhon threatens to eat it. And I would much rather... I'd much rather go find a white source. That's greedy. It's very greedy to go ahead and get a white source, especially when we don't have a trawler. Since we don't have a trawler, let's just get our green source. Make sure to hit it. Typhon. Ooh, wow. Jeez, opponent. Seems good. They grab the Typhon. A little interesting. Punished. And we'll play our own Typhon here. We have Warbriar's Blessing back up. We can kill their Typhon in the yard. And it can't come back for a little bit. If we do that, we can actually get in there this turn. So I like that. Not the most mana efficient thing, but we now have a 4/6 they have to deal with. Sure. And there's a 4. Cool. We're gonna very quickly turn that thing to fish. And keep beating. They do have ways to unlock that boar. We'll have to be careful. We can Omen of the Sea here. Go digging. We could find another Plains and a Dream Trawler. That would be cool. That'd be a real cool deck. There they find their splash color. Their mono green splash just a little bit of blue. And they may have the bounce up. Sure, opponent. And the surge seems alright here. We don't really have an enchant. I guess we couldn't. That could be the enchantment, and we can hold on to the surge. These both look like they're pretty good here. Yeah, let's keep both. So I kind of like just repealing this now. Gets it out of the way. We can still smash. And now we have instant speed removal. They're blocking. Even if they have a way to bring that back now, I'd rather just have another creature on board. They might be worried about life total at this point. And we're getting close to bringing the spider back. How many does the spider need? 4 other cards. Alright, excellent. We can go ahead and kill their Typhon with the Triumphant Surge. And even play the Grove Dancer. Things are going great here. This throws the Wave Rider up in the air. We'll get in, they can bounce with that. Or, block damage. I feel like the better choice there is to let the Wave Rider bounce off of the spider, but the opponent can do what they want. And now we can bring the Arachneer back. In fact, we'll probably have to do that this turn. We're getting in there for 9, so they need to do something here. If we find a land, we can Typhon. If not, we can Chain Web. And they can exile what? Creatures? For each creature exiled this way, they gain a life. So we could... Oh, our board got that. We can get all the creatures out of our yard then. Hey. Well, we can just turn that to fish. Well, except it still has 3 counters on it if we do that, so we have to be a little careful here. Yeah, we have to be a bit careful about this now. If we were to fishify it, it goes down to a 3/4, which still, you know, eats both of these, but this has a fine attack. This still has an okay attack, and I'd rather, you know, get value with our Arachnia before our graveyard gets nuked. So we're going to actually exile our creatures for the opponent so that they can't do it with that last chapter. Get our own 4/5 out, and we'll go ahead and attack with our 4/5. We probably should have done that pre-combat. I don't think it matters too much. We took out all the creatures so they can't gain life here. I feel like that's a pretty small thing, but it may end up mattering. And they have no cards to get back with the Binding of the Titans right now. Oh wait, I'm sorry, they have this Typhon there. It doesn't show up in the graveyard because it's showing up over here to escape. So right now they have a, what is this thing, a 4/7? It's an interesting stat line. Our boar has been milled. Our dream trawler has not been milled. So land, feel like I'm okay. Let's see. We have an attack here with the Arachnia and the Typhon. If we fishify it, it doesn't become any more killable. And we probably just want to crack this Omen. So let's attack with our 4-power things. See if we can get in there for 4. They're likely just bouncing something here. And it doesn't matter what, we're just trying to push in 4 damage. Next turn, you know, if they end up having to take 4 here, we can get there with just an Alpha Strike. So, it's probably not great practice, but this is going to inform us what we want to do here. Alright, Return to Nature's not bad. That'll actually answer some things. This Grove Dancer seems like it's a pretty medium card here, but we'll be able to Return to Nature and fish something, which might just be enough. We don't actually need the extra mana to do so either, so we can hold on to the island and pass the turn. So we have 2 answers here. We can fishify and then also, so we can fishify this, which means they will not have a good block with that, and then we'll have Return to Nature in case they have something else. I feel like we still don't really want to attack in with the Grove Dancer, do we? No, because they could eat it and go to 1. If they eat it and go to 1, is that good for us? It doesn't really improve the clock, but here it would chip us in for 4. And then they'd have to have something else that actually has good blocks against these. It's not an enchantment, because we can just destroy that. So I actually like, let's attack all. They could also just take 2 here. But again, that'll put them dead to either one of these. And if they still want to take 4, that's fine. We can return to nature. Okay, so they do get to eat it here. Just not the way I thought. There's easier ways to do that, opponent. Especially now, since that has 2 points of damage on it. This is actually a removal spell. So, that was probably a bad play on the opponent's part. They traded their 4/4 for that. Yeah, they don't have great attacks, and this blessing should just be lethal. Let's go ahead and chain web, have it fight the Huntmaster. And they think it's lethal as well. And so we do, in fact, get to go on to the 3rd game. Deck seemed to perform a little bit better there. We made a few slight adjustments. Let's run them back, see if we can get there again. So yeah, those were 2 pretty good top decks off of the Omen of the Sea Scry. So I don't know if we necessarily get there if those 2 scries aren't as good, but we'll take them. Thanks, Mama. We managed to get there that time. Our mana has punished us some, but we're doing pretty good so far for the way this deck looks. Opponent has a couple of really nice rares in their deck. I'm glad they didn't find... I think they found the boar that time, but we just took it out with a turn to fish and got there with that. No, we have some pretty good answers to the opponent's threats. The Ichthyomorphosis, the 2 of those, the Banishing Light, Triumphant Surge. We have good answers to their big creature plan. It might also be the stream. That is something I can actually adjust here in Arena. I haven't... audio. We can turn down the master there, especially the music. And hopefully that makes it a little bit better. Here, do we want to keep this hand? We have 1 land and a Traveler's Amulet. That feels highly suspect, but we do get to 2 on 2, and that's enough for Grove Dancer. If we make it a blue source... then we have this with 1 more land. The opponent goes first. I'm counting Traveler's Amulet as a land and looking at this as a 2-land hand. We're going to keep it. If we get punished for it, that's fine. We also have a 1 mana play if we absolutely need to. So, yep, we're just going to go Traveler's Amulet. Hope that we get to draw a land here, but we'll see. We do not, which means we are just cracking the amulet for a blue source. So that we hit our land drop. Now we have 2 lands. 1 more, we get our turn to fish. We already have a 2-drop. And there's our 3rd land. Wonderful. Let's just Grove Dancer and plan to trip the Grove Dancer for this Chimera. Second Chimera. Well, they don't want to trade. That's... I don't know if that's promising or bad. But here, we're going to drop a Typhon. tell them they're gonna have to deal with this sooner or later. And luckily, our hand has been... Magic gods have been kind. We have drawn the lands that we needed to make this hand work. Have we ever drawn the lands that we needed to make this hand work? Let's go ahead and throw out an Nessian Boar. We can use the Blessing to take out a Chimera. That way when we get him with the boar won't die. This went from pretty skeptical to actually a pretty decent hand. And let's try to pressure this opponent out of the game. Okay, they didn't do anything there. They might be planning to take out the Grove Dancer, but that seems... What could they possibly have instinct in green? I guess we Warbriar's Blessing. Use the Typhon to take out a Chimera. Get in there. They get to draw a card, and we can hold up instant speed things. We have a turn to fish if they can find something big that threatens to trade with the boar. And, wow, alright. Well, we got there with a one-land hand that ended up turning into a rather spectacular display by the deck. Wow. Alright, well, I think, at least for tonight, that'll be a good one to end on. I will chop this over into the video and upload it over to the YouTube page. It's Buckeye_Boomerang_MTG for the YouTube page, and that's where I'm going to post all the old drafts to. This will go up as a part 1, sometime tonight whenever YouTube is done processing it, and we'll pick this back up sometime, maybe Sunday night or Monday night, and we'll play out the other games of this draft. But we'll end one more quick look at the deck there. It is more or less mono green. Maybe you can argue that it's blue green, and then it also runs a Dream Trawler, so it's very interesting. This is a sketch mana base, but you know what? Dream Trawler is powerful enough. I think it's worth it. It got us there a game. This boar got us there another game. Deck's great, and yes, I believe I've already saved it over here. We got Pack 2 Trawler deck with the boar. So I have it saved, and we can play that deck, Mama, if at any time, over in the Going Optimal Discord, just send me a message. I think you're one of my arena friends over here. Yes, you are. So anytime we can jam some draft decks together. You can see if you can get Dream Trawlered out of a mostly green deck. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and I will catch you again. Hopefully Sunday or Monday about 7 or 8 o'clock, and we'll see you then. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good night.